electrical power generation to distribution. In this series, we will discuss the complete process from electrical power generation to distribution, and we will cover each and every aspects regarding to electrical engineering. For better understanding, I am going to use 3D models, 2D animations, original images, or sometime I will use diagrams to explain you the complete process. As this is the first video, so we will discuss electrical power generation, that is how electricity is generated in power plants. Though there are many methods to produce electricity, but the most commonly and commercially used method is creating a relative motion between electrical conductor and a magnetic field. That is by keeping field stationary and rotating the conductors, or by keeping conductors stationary and rotating the magnetic field. This one is always accepted because this has many advantages than previous one. This simple method is used in commercial generators. Though generators can be of many types like induction generator, DC generator, but the generator which is used commercially for large or bulk power production, that is synchronous generator, especially of three-phase type, and they are commonly known as alternators. They are used because they generate three-phase electrical power, which is more useful than DC power, and three-phase power can be transmitted up to long distance by increasing the voltage with the help of transformers. When we rotate them at fixed speed, they provide power with fixed frequency independent of the load. That is, output frequency does not vary even though generator is running at no load, running freely, or it will be running at full load. That's why synchronous generators are always used. These days, two-pole generators are available with a maximum capacity of 1200 megawatt. To generate 50 Hz frequency from them, they need to rotate at 3000 RPM, and to generate 60 Hz, they must be rotated at 3600 RPM. Similarly, 4-pole generators are also available with the capacity of 1500 megawatt, and to generate frequency of 50 Hz, they need to run at 1500 RPM, and to generate 60 Hz, 1800 RPM is required. These kinds of massive generators require large amount of rotational mechanical energy, which is generated through steam turbines in big power plant. As we know, in big power plant, we generate steam by burning coal or by doing nuclear reaction in reactors. After producing steam in boilers or heat exchangers, high energy superheated steam is sent into the turbine compartments through these pipes. These turbines are generally available in form of module of standard size. So to run this kind of massive generator, multiple number of turbines are used connected to a common shaft. The main reason of not constructing them in single unit, because it's again a challenging task to transport them to the power plant at the time of installation. Inside the compartment, these units consist these kinds of blade. So when steam hit this blade while entering the compartment, they start rotating and each blade transfer its mechanical power to the generator through a common shaft. As you can see here, inside the compartments, we have these kinds of blades. So the generators which runs through steam turbines usually have longer length and small diameter because they runs at higher speed. Whereas if we talk about the generators which runs on water turbines can have big dia and short length as they run at lower speed. As we have discussed, they run in speed range of 1500 RPM to 3600 RPM. So they cannot be made for big diameter, otherwise their rotor will get damaged due to centrifugal force. These high speed generators are also known as turbo alternators, and their rotor can only be designed for 2 poles or 4 poles. Because if we design its rotor for higher number of poles, then its stator winding requires large space for three-phase binding. So ultimately diameter has to be increased, which is not possible for high-speed machines. Now we know the work of rotor is to create magnetic poles, that is north at one side and south at another, and it rotates along with these poles. So to create fixed poles, rotor winding requires DC supply. For that it requires two slip rings of copper over the shaft, and these conductors are connected to these slip rings to form rotor winding. To understand its connection, we will do a separate video on that. Now as its stator consists three-phase winding, as we can see here in this simple model, it consists 30 slots and each conductor per slot, that is total 30 conductors. So to make three-phase winding, 10 conductors per phase must be distributed. That is, these 10 conductors for the first phase, these 10 conductors for the second phase, and these 10 conductors for the third phase. As this is simplified 3D model, so it consists less number of conductors. Actual generators consist hundreds of slots and multiple number of conductors per slot. As I have told you, I will do a separate video on the winding of alternators. So as we know, when rotor rotates along with the magnetic poles, it induces EMF in the three phases, and EMF of each phase displaced from the other by phase angle of 120 degree, and the three windings are generally connected in star. Neutral is earth at the power station, and only remaining three conductors continues towards the load. Now the potential difference between these two conductors is 11 kilovolt. It could be from 0.6 kilovolt to 33 kilovolt, but as a common standard which is followed all over the world, it is 11 kilovolt or 25 kilovolt. Why we not generate power at 132 kilovolt or 400 kilovolt? In that case, we will not need transformer to step up its voltage to send to the long distance. The answer is that whatever voltage we select, insulation width depend on that. So if we select higher voltage, we have to put heavy insulation over the conductors of the winding. If we increase the insulation over a limit, then the heat produced in the winding could not get out and it will melt the conductors and the insulation itself. So now only three conductors will continue towards the transformer bank. Here we have current transformers which helps us in the measuring of current. So as in this case, we have discussed about 1200 megawatt generators and 1500 megawatt generator. But the problem is that a single three-phase transformer are only available for up to 1000 megawatt. So to handle the 1200 megawatt or 1500 megawatt power, we generally use three individual single phase transformer, and the capacity of single unit is 700 megawatt. So they can handle up to 20 megawatt. Now as we have three single phase unit, so it consists two terminals at both sides, that is two for LT winding and two for ST winding, and maximum time at the generator side we use delta connection as you can see here. Now the LT terminals carried up to the transformer inside the oil jackets, because we know at the LT side the value of current is high. These pipes are actually filled with oil, so the oil helps in cooling down the current carrying conductor. Now at the load end again we will have two terminals for the ST winding. At the load side it generally consists star connection. To do that, one terminal from each unit must be connected to a single point and the remaining three terminals must continue further. Now as we are increasing voltage here, so the question arises why we increase voltage to send power up to the long distance. So to know the answer, you have to wait for our next video. In that video we will understand why we increase voltage. So I have discussed a lot of things related to the generation of electrical power. My focus was only on the electrical aspects. So I hope you like the video. If your answer is yes, dear viewers, please like this video and if possible please share this video. So we will meet in next video in which we will go into the switchyard outside the power plant and will discuss lot of things related to the substation. Till then, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.